Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is my first weekly, this is the first time I've actually filmed myself doodling, but I've managed to get it on camera. My setup is hilarious. Let me know if you want to see embarrassing pictures of how I duct tape my phone to get this shot. But for this weekly, I'm doing a little shop of horrors theme. I saw this on another Instagrammer's account, put it up on my stories with a vote to see if you guys wanted to see it, and overwhelmingly 76% of you said yes. So with this weekly, let's get straight in. I've got my phone there because I'm going to draw an Audrey II, as you can see on the left hand side. So I've got a phone for reference, although I'm really bad at following pictures to the letter. I kind of find if you try and add all the detail, it just never works, does it? So it's a different detail. So it's my interpretation of Audrey II, which I'm such a big fan of Little Shop of Horrors. It's one of my favourite films. I can remember in my nan's house clip-clopping around in her high heels pretending I was Audrey, which now as I look back an adult, it's a different feeling that I get now. But I suppose I should talk you through some of the stuff that I'm using. I've got a mechanical pencil. I always use mechanical pencil in my journal. And these are Pilot drawing pens. I got these as a pack of 3, and I think this nib is a 0.3mm, because I'm just the middle of the road type of person. I'm not quite sure really what to do with a 0.1 and a 0.5, so I stick with the middle. But I'm using my Scribbles That Matter journal. It's a dotted A5 journal, and I'm really enjoying this journal. I've had a moleskin a dotted journal, I've had a Nuna dotted journal, but this one by far, this one wins for me. So yeah, what have we got? Mechanical pencil, rubber, clear ruler. I swear by clear rulers, but I'm sure I'll be using that more when I put the outline for the weeks in. But for drawing Audrey II, I'm really trying not to sing, by the way. I think The Little Shop of Horrors is such a good musical, but I'm such a bad singer. So I'm talking and resisting the urge. But here I'm just adding in the roots from Audrey II and just trying to get as much detail in as possible before I add pen. I'm always really nervous when I draw something out. I'll draw all the insignificant bits. Like I'm quite happy to fine line a leaf in a plant pot, but like the head, I had to speed that one up a little bit quicker than the rest because I definitely had a moment where I didn't want to do it. So, but I finally did. Look at me go. Well, I don't think I've got anything else. The pens that I'll be using, they're Faber Castell felt tip pens. They are, I think they were a pack of 36, and they were about £8–9 in the UK. I believe they are kids pens, kids colouring pens, but they work quite well for adults too, so I don't see why the kids have to get all the fun. So I'm just going through. I'm really not good at leaves and plant drawing. I know there's some really good Instagrammers that talk about plants and how to draw them. I never do. So I've got the bulk of that outline in, so I'm going to go in and add my weekly space, and clearly that day's Thursday, and I'm hoping I'm not doing too much because the Audrey's roots are taking over. I was trying with this shot to try and do those lines without moving my journal, but I then, as I was doing it, realised that I moved my journal around so much when I'm drawing in lines, and it was actually really hard to do without moving. So I don't think this is going to be the straightest lined layout I've ever done. I think I've got annoyed with the felt tip pens and already moved them. But I'm going through, again, this is why I love a clear ruler, because I can see underneath, and I've got pencil markings where I've outlined it in pencil. So it's just really easy to see with a clear ruler. And this one I think was 70p on Amazon, so can't go wrong, can you? 70p. I think everything I've bought has been with vouchers or from people's money. I'm a bit of a tight ass. So usually if you see my layouts on Instagram, you know that little box on the right is for quotes. I have been looking at Little Shop of Horror quotes, and I can't see many that I'm that in love with. I don't think Little Shop of Horrors has any, life affirmations in that film other than don't get eaten by a cannibalistic plant. but I love this part when you're doodling and you just get to rub all of that sort of pencil markings away, and then you're left with this pristine, I say pristine, you're left with a drawing that just looks like you freehanded it with a black outliner. Yeah, because that's how we roll. Not that you've spent 20 minutes back and forth drawing in with pencil. So I've gone through all of my green colours here because obviously a huge part of Audrey is that she's a plant, she's green. So I'm filling in stuff that, you know, how many variants of red can you have? So I'm filling in red. I've got my swatches of green colours to sort of, there's nothing worse than just picking up a green pen, beginning to colour with it and realising it's the worst green pen for the job. Okay, did you see the film skip? My mum called and it cut the filming off, so I didn't actually answer her phone. I just carried on and went straight back into colouring. Sorry mum, I will call you back. But now look at the layout, look at my lovely little look. Ah well, we'll keep going. So this, so Audrey sort of starts quite red and orange at the top, and then obviously further down to her base she gets much more deep and darker green. So I'm just trying to go in and put a bit, if I could say it that would help. Just try a bit of shading as I go down. But I think what you'll probably pick up on is Faber Castells don't blend like what I would imagine Tombows do. I had to think of what their name was then. I hear people on Instagram absolutely raving about them and how brilliant they are, and I think they're brilliant, and then I see the price and then I don't think they're brilliant, and I stick with my trusty £8 Faber Castell pens. But they don't shade very well. I think the nice thing you get with sort of Tombows is that you could buy two different yellows and they're so similar that when you put one over the other it looks like a natural shading. With these you can see it's slightly Jamaican looking, in that it's really vibrant and it's very blocky, and I'm pretty much right now, I'm now trying to go back in and work that back through so that it's a little bit less stripy, I think. I've got in with a darker pen and just done a little stippling because I want to keep calling it a plant. It is a plant, isn't it? Audrey's quite scaly, so I'm going in and putting that in. And then she has a purple mouth, and this is the one thing I think with Faber Castells that I would say kills me slightly, is that Faber Castell, the purple, there is one purple in that pot, and I don't think it's the one I'm using, but it might be the one. No, it is. It's this one. It just bleeds through pages, and I've got to take my hat off to Scribbles That Matter. I've checked the other side of that page. It did well. It bled, but I've had worse, so I'm still impressed. But yeah, so she has a purple inside of her mouth, so she's getting even more colourful at the moment. I keep calling her she too, don't I? She was definitely a bloke. It was definitely a bloke that voiced Audrey II. So I've gone in here with a green. This is what I call AstroTurf green. It's the wrong green. So as I'm colouring in, I'm panicking because it's the worst colour green I could pick. So, oh, did anyone see that? I feel like I want to stop and rewind the video. I dropped my green pen on the paper and made a massive line on just where that root is. So to cover my mistake, and you will never know, I drew a root over it, and it's coming out the back of the pot actually. That's completely the way it was meant to be. So accidents happen, I suppose, is the moral of that story. But yeah, I've got a big old green line, so it's now a root. And only you that have watched this video will know that happened in my life. To be fair, do you do the same? That's literally what I do with every spread. If I make a mistake, I'm just like, how can I make it look like it was deliberate? To be fair, I'm like that in my life. So I'm going in, filling in all the roots, and just trying to get a bit of shading on each one. I mean, there's only so many greens you can do. Although I'm happier that I fixed that leaf colour. I mean, it's not as green as it was, right? So that's a bonus. And then I think I got a little bit pen happy because I think I'm just procrastinating now because I don't want to draw that massive brown pot, which I'm not sure a giant brown pot is very good looking in a journal. But it's coming up, so stay tuned. Well, mostly for my weeklies I have two layouts. I have this layout, which is a vertical one, so it means that I can do a nice long doodle on the left hand side, or I have a horizontal is that what I'm doing? Yeah, a horizontal layout. And then at the top, I've got doodles that go along the top. And so depending on what it is that I want to draw for that weekly, if Peter Pan, I did Big Ben, so I did a vertical one like this one. Audrey II is a big old plant, so that's a vertical. But things like when I did Frozen and I did Anna and Elsa standing next to each other, that was a horizontal. I'm trying to think off the top of my head what are the layouts that I've got. But so they're the two main weekly layouts that I stick to. And then obviously I've got my days of the week, so I do my daily sort of rapid logging in those little spaces. And that's all really. I've got a space for tracking. There's very few things that I track in my journal. I'm not a tracker fan. I have to be really motivated to want to track it, or there's a reason why I want to, otherwise I just don't. And then I've got top right, I've got a space for a to-do list. Everybody loves a to-do list. I've always got one in my week, so that'll be going there. And then on the right hand side of the page, but on the left with that green header, that's my next week sort of space. So I like to kind of see what's coming up in the week ahead, and that kind of then, if I need to shift things forward, that's the space it gets put into. And I really can't talk. I use my monthlies to do a lot of planning for Instagram. Oh, look at me doing a little name drop, brand drop. So I'm switching to Supertips here because I want to do big thick lines with green. That had like a brown smudge on the tip of that. So when I drew the line, it had a big old brown line, which is no fun, really. It's not what I wanted. But so I think I'm pretty much finished up. I'm just going to go in and write in all the stuff that I've just talked to you about prematurely. Probably should have waited to this point, but I like to jump the gun. So with this layout, again, like I said, I've still got a quote to find. I might just go and find something, and I definitely want to put something in that top left space, because look at that big gap. That's ugly. Did I finish the monthly conversation? I feel like I sort of saw the Crayola tips and completely went squirrel and got distracted. But I use my monthlies for planning out Instagram and what I want to do and when I need to post, and now for YouTube, because obviously I've got a YouTube channel now. So that's where my monthlies get consumed, and so my weeklies are a way of doing sort of personal things and just life in general. So being able to see what's going on from one week to the next is helpful. But I think that's it. Oh no, ooh. Okay, so I'm going in and thinking I've got to have something that tells me what day of the week it is, right? I know which one's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Look, it's getting smaller. Thursday, I really hope I've got nothing on. If it turns out to be a really busy week, I'm going to have an embarrassing list on the other side of that page for all of Thursday's stuff. But hey, I'll give it up to the cause of the doodling, because I'm a doodler and I put up with that. I think I'm trying to make these into leaves. I think it was sort of a whim. It was a last minute, yeah. Did you see me back out of that? I was going to colour it in purple and then completely went, no, don't do that. And that pretty much, I think that's most of the spread. I mean, I've got spaces, I've got to do stuff to do. I know what I'm doing now. I do remember. So in that to-do list, I want to put a header, but I have no idea what I want to put. So you just see me like worrying. And I think I ended up going with, you know, in the Little Shop Horrors, he goes to the dentist and the dentist puts that little mirror in his mouth. Yeah, that's what I thought of when thinking of headers. Hey, it's all relevant. It's part of the theme. And that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.